Hello everyone and welcome to another vlog. Today it's gonna be a vlog about travel photography. I'm doing landscape photography full-time from 2009, but I'm into more travel photography as in true travel photography from about 2012, 2013. And what I'm saying true travel photography because everybody takes photos during their travels, but since 2013, let's call it 13, I've developed an interest to photograph the areas where every tourist is going in a different way by going to places that no tourists are visiting or trying to interact with the people and trying to capture the moment, the action, and people in their homes and people in their workplaces. And from all that experience, I think I gathered these 9 tips for you, and each tip is illustrated with a couple of photos just to prove my point. So let's get started and talk about tip number 1: expect the unexpected. So we were photographing, for example, these are winter holiday traditions in Romania. All the photos are in rural Romania, and we were photographing these traditional dances that are performed during winter holidays. So we had this group of kids and they were doing all this dancing. This is called the goat dance, and then we had the bear dancing over here, and then we took the kids inside a barn or something. And while we were photographing there, it started to snow really, really bad. And of course, that presented such a beautiful opportunity when we left the barn. And of course, we had to lit up a fire and take them to do the show again, because now it was snowing and it was so incredible. The moment was so powerful, and yeah, it was really great. Here you have a view with the entire group and the fire that it's almost gone right now. So expect the unexpected. Tip number 2: light is very important. Of course, light is very important everywhere, but just by saying that light is very important doesn't mean that you'll be careful to have good light. Now, let me show you a craftsman workshop, and he has an entire window wall from where the light can come inside the workshop. And because of that, I think this looks really, really good, and I managed to capture him in different ways, also in different moments of the year. And whenever I'm there, whenever I was there, I was trying to talk to him, and every time I went there, he was actually doing something. He's not doing something just for the show, just for me. He is an actual craftsman that he needed to do something. And whenever people have to do something that is real, it looks real because they're actually doing something. So this tip with light is very important. Then we took him into his home and also used the window light. I think window light creates some really beautiful portraits. The light fades away very quickly, so now you have the opportunity to have your subject in place in a very powerful way. Now, tip number 3 is to look for stories. I was photographing in the home of these 2 beautiful elder people, and she was weaving and he was telling us stories, and we just let them talk. You don't want to interfere too much. Maybe ask a question or two just to keep the conversation going if you have the feeling that they're going to stop. But I'm just capturing that moment when they're interacting. And then he approached her, and at a certain point I noticed that there is a photo with them when they got married, and asked them to hold that photo. And I think this is a very powerful image, simply because it's a story of a lifetime. You get to see them young and you get to see them now. And because they are that old and they're still together and they're smiling in the photo, and as you can see in the original photo of their wedding, she had the exactly same smile. The fact that they are there, both of them at that age, that is a win for them, and that is a beautiful story to be told in just one photo. Tip number 4, try different angles. This is something that I always try. I always try to achieve. For example, I photographed at this monastery, and I tried to do some shots that look completely different or from a completely different perspective. Tip number 5, look for the things nobody is watching or nobody is seeing. So we were photographing at a narrow gauge train, and we went in the backstage, if you want, where the mechanic was preparing the locomotive. He was washing himself after that, and another mechanic came and took the charge of the locomotive and started talking to him. And of course, that when the train started to go, we were not. We were in that train for a period of time, but after that, we went down and we photographed the train arriving. So we are now outside this train, and the people that are going with this train, there are tourists. They don't see what we are seeing. The train that is coming. Tip number 6: talk to people, make jokes. People have such an open personality in some areas, and in the historic area of Maramuresh in Romania, they're so friendly and you can talk to them. For example, we met these 2 lovely ladies outside of Breb village, and I asked them who they are going to beat with those pitchforks, and of course they started to laugh. After that, we went down into the village. We started to go through the houses. We met these 2 guys doing some hay work, doing some haystacks, and he started to show us this is an old press. It was used to do oil from sunflower seeds. After that, we end up in another house, and this guy, when I told him that I want to take a photo of him, he started to laugh because he's really old, and who wants to take a photo of a really old man? And then this woman was next to him, and she was started to laughing because he was laughing. So it was a really funny moment. And then the guy with the press took us into his home and showed us 2 photos of him when he was young. And these kind of moments, they kind of get to you. You can't replicate the feeling of that. And this just comes from talking to people. Over here, for example, we were in the historic region of Bukovina from Romania, and there was this guy had a bunch of sheep, and he was feeding the sheep. So we end up photographing him and his dogs. After that, we were again in Maramuresh area with this photo, and it was this guy that wanted to show us how fortunate he is that he has all this food and all the drink and everything is well for him. And for some people, happiness means that they have something to eat, something to drink, and they have a home, and they're happy with their life. They don't want the next phone. They don't want the next car. They don't need things like that to be happy. And for you to be there, just talk to them. Talk to them, and at a certain point, just listen to them. It's very important. Here we were in a place that is called Palinkărie, and Palinkărie comes from the word palinka, and palinka, it's a really strong drink, something like whiskey, but I think it's a lot heavier than that, and it's very strong, and it's a very good drink to bond people together. Yeah, whenever after you're drinking Palinka, you're gonna solve the world problems. You're gonna become friends with whoever is on your table. So this is a place where they make this drink. Now, tip number 7: people in their homes or in their working places, but usually in the rural areas of Romania, craftsmen have their workshops near their home. So it's basically photographing them in their home. Here I photographed this blacksmith, and he was hitting the hammer over there, and I asked him to close the windows, close everything, and let the smoke build up just to have those rays. Of course his eyes were tearing up, but he did it for us, and we were very, very happy for that. Again, we have this other guy who played this instrument. It's called bucium. This instrument, it has a funny name. And after that he was resting, and we had some rays coming from the ashes over there. And again, this craftsman, he was doing a religious icon. I don't remember exactly. Either it was a religious icon or some sort of trophy or something like that. Here we photographed in Maramureș area, and again it was this old lady, and she welcomed us in her home. I told you, if you talk to people, people open to you, and they're letting you see things that you won't see as a simple tourist. Travel photography, in my opinion, is about going beyond those simple moments when you photograph what the tourists are seeing. So we photographed this old lady in her home, and it was really great. And then it was this other lady. They were two friends, and it was really something. Again, the place where they do that drink, Palinka. This old lady was doing some work inside their home, inside her home. And as I said, when people are actually doing something that they actually have to do, and they're not just doing it for a show, you have something very interesting. Here, this lady was preparing something to cook in the oven. I think it was a cake of something. This other lady, because it's in the same place, it was weaving. And tip number 8 is don't be afraid to ask for permission. Now, as you can see from this photo, you guessed it, you hinted, it's a delicate moment. So we were staying at a local pension in Maramureș, and I saw there's going to be a funeral the next day. And I talked to the host where we were staying and asked them if they want to talk to the persons from the funeral, if they let us to photograph. And surprisingly, they agreed for us to go there and photograph. Of course, we did not intervene in the moment. We did not went inside completely. We tried to respect their privacy and respect the fact that it's a very sad and very, I don't know, it's a very powerful moment. And over here in this first photo, you see this is the widow. After that, the priest arrives, and some empty chairs and people praying. The priest again, some old ladies lighting up a candle, other ladies holding candles. The relatives gather around the coffin. All these moments, I think, they represent something. It was an old traditional funeral that is still in place, still it's being practiced in rural places of Romania. And tip number 9, make people happy. If you can tell a joke, but I prefer to make them happy by giving them a photo of them. Now, sometimes I do this by coming back to the same location, and when I'm returning, I know that I'm going to give them some photos. Or if I have the Canon Selfie with me, it's a small printer, I can print some photos and give it to them right there on the spot. But usually I'm giving them photos after the workshop is over, or the photo tour is over, or my trip in that location is over. And the next time I'm coming back to that location, that is the moment when I'm offering them those photos. But this is them holding the photos. But let me show you some photos of me handing them their photos. This is me without a beard, by the way. So you can see how happy they are. They are simply, I don't know how to express it, but the joy in their faces when they see their portrait, it's very powerful. And I'm going to say something that some of my participants to my workshops know. Many of these old people, when I hand them those photos, they say that that photo would be on their grave. So sometimes when they say that, I mean, my hair literally raises up on my arm. You can't beat that feeling in photography. When a person tells you that, you can't beat that feeling in photography. So I hope you liked and appreciate these 9 tips I have for your travel photography. If you have something to add, use the comment section below. Maybe you'll subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're not already subscribed. And if you are already subscribed, I will say a big thank you to you. And for all of you, thanks for watching. Thanks for taking time and watch this video. Bye-bye.